remain standing and join several members of the DSU Concert Choir in the singing of our national anthem. Please be seated. As president of Dakota State University, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this fall 2006 commencement. This is a special commencement as it is one of the last events in a year-long celebration here at DSU. Earlier this week, we combined our campus holiday open house with another finale event celebrating the 125th anniversary of the founding of Dakota State. Some of the mementos and things you see on the stage to my right are a part of that history and help remind us of the long history of this institution. Well, I don't think there was anyone in attendance here today that was around in 1881. Well, maybe some of the arts and science faculty. And for those of you who didn't think Roger Reed was that old, now you know. We are going to incorporate the honoring of some former faculty members who have been a part of the history of the institution. As we close out this year of remembering and celebrating, we are now drawn to the question of what is the next step for Dakota State. We have put into place a process for developing a strategic plan that will guide us into the future. This theme of the next step is an idea that clearly fits with an event such as Commencement. Yes, we are here today to congratulate you on your accomplishments, your persistence, your stamina, and your dedication to the task of defining your future. But you will also hear in the words of our speakers and in the messages associated with this event our challenges to you as you shape the directions for this future. Over the last 125 years, thousands of graduates of this institution have been in your shoes, excited about the opportunities that lay ahead, and probably a little nervous about what is down that road or around that corner. My greatest wish is that the educational experiences, the relationships you have developed, and the skills you have attained here at Dakota State University will have helped you to build a level of self-confidence and a body of knowledge that will help you make your next step a little easier and a platform for launching a very successful journey. The most important next step today is about walking across this stage. So to get us started on that journey and to take that step, I would like to introduce our commencement speaker. It is my pleasure to welcome as our speaker today Dr. Tad Perry, the Executive Director of the South Dakota Board of Regents. Dr. Perry began his duties as Executive Director in 1994 after serving as the Chief Operating Officer of Indiana's Partnership for Statewide Education and concluding a 23-year career at Ball State University as a Professor of Political Science and Associate Vice President from 1987 to 1994. Dr. Perry graduated from Central Methodist University in Missouri and received a MA and a PhD from the University of Missouri-Columbia. He serves in leadership roles for several national professional boards and organizations. This year, he heads the National Organization of State Higher Education Executives. Please help me in welcoming a personal friend and a wonderful friend of Dakota State University, Dr. Tad Perry.
Good afternoon. Thank you, President Knowlton. First, permit me to congratulate the graduates of this commencement. You've reached a major milestone in your life, and you and your families are to be congratulated for this great step. What I want to visit with you about for the next few minutes is expectations. Webster defines expectations as the anticipation of something happening. And we all have that for ourselves. I can attest that your parents had some wonderful expectations for you as you entered Dakota State. They wanted you to graduate, and they wanted you to go get a job. So the expectations that we might visit about are those that you have of yourself, those that others will have of you, and when you think about the others that you will respond to throughout your life, keep in mind that they're not only your personal friends, but in a much larger society, we will have expectations of you as individuals. No doubt that when you started here 4 or 5 or so years ago, in some cases, you had somewhat some expectations of what you would accomplish. I trust that through the journey that you've had at Dakota State, that you have been able to satisfy both your intellectual and your personal goals that you set for yourself. Surely you have learned something while you were here and met that expectation, and I would be surprised if you informed me that you didn't have any fun while you were here at the same time. Being the normal persons you are, surely you probably had some expectations that had to be adjusted or modified or even totally altered during this period of time. It's a good lesson, for as you go through life, you will find that expectations will change and should change, as we will visit about in a moment. And that's exactly as it should be. When you entered Dakota State University, I am sure that your expectations were the same as the expectations of the faculty. That you came here expecting to be responsible for learning all that was assigned to you in all programs and in all individual course assignments. That you expected to be self-motivated to get the quality of the work done within the time frame asked of you. That you expected to be organized and to manage your time. That you expected that you would be responsible for not only reading and knowing the rules and the regulations of the university, but also acquiring those norms that drove your existence in an educational community. 125 years ago, Dakota State University began. It began because there were some expectations of those in the society of South Dakota that said we needed this place. And as you celebrate this 125 years, and that comes to an end over the next several days and weeks, you should know whether or not we have lived up to some of those expectations. Let me draw upon a quote from Charles Kennedy, who, if he was not the father of Dakota State, was certainly one of them. He once wrote, "We were poor as a territory and exceedingly poor as individuals, but rich in vim, energy, punk, and perseverance, hope, and optimistic expectations. And the difficult problem to be solved was how to transform this class of riches into such a form as would be acceptable in payment of buildings, equipment, and support for the higher educational institutions which would soon be pressing us as a need, and without which the intellectual class of people settling in this territory could not live." Policymakers in the territorial legislative body before we became a state in 1881 provided that this normal school would be created, that it would be a place for the instruction of persons, actually they wrote it into the law, both male and female, in the art of teaching in the various branches that pertain to a good common education. They further provided that this place would be on a tract of land of 160 acres, incorporated in the limits of Madison, and that that land would be donated by the citizens of Madison. I mention that to you because the expectations of lawmakers in the territorial body are much like the expectations of lawmakers today in South Dakota. And you, I am sure, witnessed this every day when you went to the Wellness Center here at Dakota State and took part in that grand facility that was a shared enterprise of the citizens of Madison and Dakota State University. When Charles Kennedy deeded the land to this institution in 1883, he also did it with an expectation that this would become a place for teacher education, and provided a stipulation or a legal expectation that we would continue to have that heritage in this institution, or we would have to give the land back to the Kennedy estate. There was a wonderful little clause he put in which helped keep the teacher education program in this institution when it went through some transformation in the last quarter century. As Dakota State began its journey with its first 11 students, they came and entered with some expectations. They were met by an administration, some faculty who also had some expectations of how they might behave. When General Beadle, a name that you've become familiar with in your journey here, when General Beadle was president, he offered and wrote some rules. I'm sure that you have thought about these during your journey, but let me remind you of what he laid out as the rules of behavior. Every student shall, unless excused for good cause, be present at opening exercises daily, sit without intercommunication, with books closed and attentive to the exercises. Now try to do that in today's world of iPods and instant messaging and all these other things that you folks do. At all other times, those in the assembly room shall be in their own seats and attend quietly, silently to their own studies, shall keep the floor clean of waste paper and other litter around their desk, and refrain strictly from communications and other acts that may disturb the study of others. Students are not permitted to study in the halls or cloakrooms or assemblies or be there during any recitation in the building or during open exercises, but must remain in the library or assembly room when not engaged at recitations or other duties. The library is strictly a place for study and must be quiet at all times, except on social occasions. Students may pass to the library at any time to consult it for quiet study. Now, faculty, here's your part. Every member of the faculty and assistants shall note and report to the faculty in session every violation of these rules and regulations and call the attention of the students to them if violated. Can you imagine that today? Maybe this is a good lesson for us, though. The lesson is rules, regulations need to be adjusted and modified as we go through time. And you will have that experience, graduates, as you move forward from here. You will modify rules of your own expectations as you go forward. We have moved forward at Dakota State University as an institution over these 125 years, much like you have moved forward in your time here as a student. The adjustments made by Dakota State University over the last 25 years are significant. This institution has grown into a national model that we did not envision, none of you envisioned. Some of these guys over here who are back and were part of the faculty may have envisioned, but I am suspicious. Back when in that same time frame in 1983, I was a young member of the administrative team at Ball State University, an institution in Indiana. And one of my assignments was to do the new program development and go ask state policymakers for the money to fund them. And I had been, during the 83 session, to the legislature asking them to fund a new telecommunication building that we really thought we needed. And I had been unsuccessful. I was unsuccessful because the expectations of the policymakers is that we would have a coherent program of study around technology that would justify such a building. I actually had no idea what that meant. But somebody at Christmas gave me a book. The book was Megatrends. I read it on a trip at Christmas and went back taking the message out of Megatrends that we were going to live in a world of communication that would be driven by electronic medium. That same book was read by folks in South Dakota during that same period of time, and it created the concept, the idea for what became the new Dakota State University. Today, you graduate from an institution that has made the transition and has transformed itself, and you can take great pride in leaving an institution that is nationally recognized for its unique and quality work. Just to cite and recall for you, U.S. News and World Report ranks Dakota State University as the #1 Midwestern public comprehensive college. Please applaud. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the National Security Agency has named Dakota State University as one of the limited number of national centers of academic excellence and information assurance. And Citigroup has named your alma mater to its technology leadership program of 16 institutions where your peers are, be attentive to this, your peers are Carnegie Mellon, Georgia Institute of Technology, Rensselaer Polytech Institute, Rochester Institute of Technology, MIT, Penn State, Purdue, Washington University, and the universities of Cincinnati, Florida, Michigan, Illinois, Notre Dame, Texas, California, Berkeley. Those are your peers. Your expectation today is to get an education in an environment that is contemporary with technology. You expect a wireless campus with tablet computers and that are fully integrated into the instructional life of this campus. You will expect that as you go forward, that the core approach to communication in both education and business, as well as your social environment, is going to be through some form of electronic device. I have no idea what all those mean today, much less what they're going to mean in 2 years or more. The key, however, is that your successors as students in this population will stay on the edge of technology as part of their experience. Let me just bring this conversation to a close with some expectations that society is going to have of you graduates as you walk across this stage. Once you grasp that diploma from Dr. Knowlton, you're going to enter into a very elite society of world citizens. Think about this. you're going to be part of the world's elite. Only 27% of the population in the United States holds a baccalaureate degree. Roughly 1 in 4. Among those in the world today, the United States still ranks high. However, we have fallen to 8th in the world in the proportion of college-educated people over the age of 25. A generation ago, we were number 1. Those people who are in that 55 to 64 age category live in a world where their age cohort is number 1 in the world in education. People in the 35 to 44-year-old group have dropped to 8th. Your generation is facing the prospect of dropping even further in the world competition of education. It'll be up to you to see that that does not happen. And this is an urgent need in this country and in this state and for this generation that's graduating. Nevertheless, you are among the elite, and with that comes some responsibilities and expectations. Let me share some of those with you. One expectation is you get a job and make a contribution to the work world. And as you enter that work world, it's a different environment than the one you've lived in here. You will be expected to communicate effectively with all people in all forms, and you will be expected to work well with a wide variety and diverse group of peers. You are expected to use your knowledge and analytical ability to make healthy life choices. You are expected to ensure that the early preparation of our next generation that you will parent takes place. Critical thinking and the styles of learning take place very early in a new infant. If you haven't watched a child between the ages of 1 and 4 recently and watched how they sponge information and knowledge, take time to do that. I've had a reawakening to this since I now have 5 grandchildren under the age of 3, and I keep watching them, and I'm just amazed by how quick they conquer. If you don't give students or new students to be an experience before they ever start school, they will never have the full opportunity to take advantage of it. And you, as new parents in elite society, as you go forward from here, will have that responsibility. You're expected to stay current in your learning and education. New knowledge is being created constantly. With a volume of new applications and advances of information, you can expect to have to reinvent yourself at least once every 7 years during your work life. The degree you get today only certifies that you're capable of learning. You're expected to help build South Dakota for the 21st century. This will be a different state, built upon the strength of a new knowledge-based economy. You're at the forefront of this change. Stay and contribute to the new South Dakota, as has been so well defined by Governor Rounds in his 2010 initiatives. You are expected to become an active, engaged member of the civic community. Our democracy works when citizens become involved. For the leadership of public affairs, if not you, then who should it be? You're expected to volunteer your time, talent, and resources for the betterment of your community and your environment. South Dakota is one of the most giving states in philanthropy, which is especially noteworthy given its relative position in personal income. As you exit the stage today, you advance into the ranks of the Dakota State University alumni and supporters. One of the opportunities you will now have is to return that investment that others have made in you. Even though it may be hard for you to acknowledge today, given that you probably are leaving here with a little bit of debt in most cases, and that you've been paying some tuition and fees for the last several years that seem exorbitant. But be mindful that the citizens of this state have put about $7,500 a year behind your education. And over a 4-year period, they've invested at least $30,000 in your education as well. So you might want to ask the question, how might I pay this forward or return the investment? I'll offer you a suggestion. Make a contribution to the Dakota State University Foundation, who raises money to make it possible for students like you to receive the scholarships that many of you received from the foundation donors. It really doesn't matter how much you contribute. It's more important that you contribute. Start small, work your way up. By the time you get to the end of your lifetime, you will have made a significant contribution. One last suggestion. Have you ever seen the movie Mr. Holland's Opus? My favorite movie. It's my favorite movie because it's a story of a music teacher who taught lessons of life that far exceeded the classroom content of the teacher. It's a wonderful depiction of how special teacher, mentor persons are in the lives of each of us and how they make a difference. I am absolutely confident that each of you have encountered someone at Dakota State that made a difference in your journey. Someday, as you're sitting thinking about your life and how you got to where you are, and you recall that person that made some kind of contribution, stop, do the unexpected, drop them a note and tell them. Your next step is to walk across this stage, move into the world that will have all kinds of new expectations for you, where others will help define how you will go forward. Just be mindful that this next step, that the expectations that you have of yourself now come from a very rich Dakota State culture. And like the history that has occurred in this place, you will be known by the expectations you have of yourself to transform your skills and knowledge and to improve the world around you. Go take this next step. Stay on the edge. Enjoy making expectations happen. My very best wishes. Congratulations to you. Good luck.
Thank you, Dr. Perry, for agreeing to travel here today and for sharing your thoughts with our graduates and their families. It is now my pleasure to call upon Dr. Cecilia Whitmire, Vice President for Academic Affairs, to help me in recognizing several individuals who have had a tremendous impact on the history of our institution.
Faculty serve as the backbone of any university system. Dakota State University is especially blessed today to have had many dedicated and talented individuals who, in some cases, spent the majority of their career educating our graduates. Much of this institution's success can be attributed to the work and the insight of individuals such as those that we are honoring today. Emeritus status is granted to retiring full-time faculty in recognition of dedicated service, and it's awarded with the approval of the Board of Regents. It is actually an earned rank, and as such entitles its holders to commensurate rights and privileges. I would ask that each emeritus faculty member present today please stand to be recognized as your name is called, and then I would ask that the audience hold your applause until all have been recognized. Our first emeritus faculty is Ed Harder, Assistant Professor Emeritus of Health and Physical Education, served Dakota State from 1963 to 1990. In addition to his classroom duties, Dr. Harder served as the head men's basketball coach from 1965 to 1976. In both roles, he touched many students' lives. Since retiring, he has continued to be a loyal supporter of both DSU athletics and the university. Thank you. Bob Herman, Professor Emeritus of Economics, served Dakota State from 1967 to 1986. When Bob joined Dakota State in 1967, he brought with him 20 years of work experience in the business world, and he applied that experience to the classroom. He was involved in the community and held several leadership positions in campus governance while he was here. Since his retirement, he has been living in Illinois. And I think actually I may be the replacement for Dr. Herman. When he retired, I was hired, as a matter of fact. Jerry Lane, Professor Emeritus of History, 1964 to 1990. Jerry has devoted his career to not only teaching, but also to serving the people of the state through many years in the South Dakota legislature, as a member of several civic boards, and as an advocate for the South Dakota Humanities Association. Roger Reed, Professor Emeritus of Sociology, 1969 to 2005. Roger embraced the use of technology as a teaching tool. He's been a major contributor to the teaching of our master's degree in educational technology. Throughout his career and since his retirement, and he hasn't only sort of retired, he still teaches periodically for us. Since his retirement, Roger has been a strong advocate of student activities, particularly athletics. Ernie Teagarden, Professor Emeritus of History and Business, from 1963 to 1994. In addition to teaching a diverse list of courses, Ernie served as chairman of the Division of Business, Industry, and Public Administration for 21 years. Some of you may remember that as BIPA. He was well known across the region for his leadership in the annual Dakota History Conference that was held at DSU for many, many years. Please join me in thanking these individuals by contributing for their contribution to the successful history of DSU. I'm also extremely pleased to introduce the DSU Concert Band under the direction of Dennis Haig. And they will be performing a piece titled 3 Miniatures by Robert Sheldon. The 3 parts of this collection are called Joyful Dance, Simple Song, and Celebration.
Thank you, Mr. Haig, and members of the band for that entertainment today. It is my pleasure to now call upon one of our graduates, Ashley Brassfield, to speak to us on behalf of the graduates. Ashley, would you please come forward? Ashley is graduating magna cum laude with a double major in computer, graphic design, and multimedia web development. She is a Center of Excellence graduate and has earned both academic and athletic scholarships throughout her college career. Ashley has been recognized as an academic All-American in volleyball by the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics and has been named a Dakota Athletic Conference Scholar Athlete. Please welcome Ashley Brassfield.
Welcome, fellow graduates, president, faculty, family, and friends, to the Fall 2006 Commencement exercises for Dakota State University. I am extremely honored to speak to you today. As I sat down to put together some notes for this graduation, my mind wandered back to high school graduation 4.5 years ago, and I reflected on how we all knew we were making such a giant step from high school into the real world, when the biggest worry we had was to decide on what college to attend and what field to major in. After that came the fact that we would have to try and cram all of our stuff into half of a dorm room. Let me tell you, you can fit a lot more in that room than what you think. Those are the examples of this big step from high school to college. Now the concerns and decisions to make are filling out applications for employment, asking questions about salaries, 401ks, health insurance, and deductibles. And what do you mean, Mom and Dad? We actually have to get our own car insurance? Okay, now we really know what you mean about the real world. You do learn a lot about yourself during your college years, and I was no exception. It is tough bouncing back and forth from a kid to a young adult. When you falter, you find there's all sorts of ways to get up. Meanwhile, you're developing coping skills and growing up without even realizing it. And in the midst of all of this going on, you are forever learning. H. Jackson Brown, Jr., interviewed people from 5 to 95 years of age, where they share what they've discovered about life, love, and other good stuff. It is called The World is Our Classroom, and I would like to share a few of their insights about what they've learned from their life. I've learned that the most of the things I worry about never happen. I've learned that if there were no problems, there would be no opportunities. I've learned that every great achievement was once considered impossible. I've learned that in every face-to-face encounter, regardless of how brief, we leave something behind. I've learned that education, experience, and memories are the 3 things that no one can take away from you. I've learned that there's no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs. I've learned that we grow only when we push ourselves beyond what we already know. I've learned that everyone has something to teach. I've learned that bigger isn't always better. DSU is the epitome of that last line. Where else can you walk across the campus and a professor you haven't had since your freshman year walks past and says hello using your first name? Or where can you stroll into a professor's office without an appointment and talk about school, life, or careers and never feel like you're intruding? These are the very unique qualities that I have found here at DSU that I wouldn't give up for anything. I've discovered lasting friendships and still laugh about all the things that can happen when you share a house with 5 other girls. I am also still amazed at how much food a volleyball team can consume and still ask on the bus ride home if anybody has something to eat because they're just starving. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the support staff, the professors, the community that puts up with college antics and the sometimes inappropriate things that young people do, and family and friends who are sharing this day with us. Thank you for believing in us and pushing us to succeed. To you, fellow graduates, good luck, and may the sunshine of employment shine upon you. For they tell me the student loan repayment plan begins 6 months to the day from graduation. Good luck with that one. I will leave you with this thought. Yesterday is the past, tomorrow is the future, and today is a gift. That is why it's called the present. Thank you, and have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Ashley. As we mentioned during the earlier recognition of emeritus faculty, the quality of any education on any campus depends on the faculty. Dakota State is particularly blessed to have a faculty who care deeply about their students and the quality of education they experience. I now ask the current faculty here today to please stand and be acknowledged for all the support they provide to students during this educational process and for the dedication they bring to their teaching. Please stand. Thank you. Degrees are authorized by the South Dakota Board of Regents. We are pleased that Regent Richard Bellotti of Madison was able to join us to authorize these degrees. Regent Bellotti, the faculty of Dakota State University have determined that these candidates, comprising the 123rd graduating class, have or will complete all requirements for the degrees indicated. I am pleased to concur in the recommendation of the faculty and present these candidates to the Board of Regents for the awarding of degrees.
Thank you, Dr. Knowlton. Platform guests and families and friends and professors emeriti, let me congratulate the graduates of this final year of the 125th anniversary of Dakota State University and wish her well as she starts on her 126th. I also want to congratulate the president and the entire faculty who have done such a fine job and have secured for Dakota State the top ranking as the best comprehensive college in the Midwestern region, according to the U.S. News and World Reports in the annual analysis of America's best colleges of 2007. At this time, I would like to ask the graduates to join with me in an applause for the excellent faculty that we have. One of the criteria of the comprehensive award is academic excellence, and I don't think there's any question, but we have an extremely excellent faculty, and I would like very much to have the graduates join me in a round of applause for the faculty. The continuing learning environment at DSU is changing all the time, as Dr. Perry had mentioned, and we're only too happy on the Board of Regents to see this. And as a representative of the Board of Regents, I bring the sentiments from the entire board to the graduating class. Now, you're graduating in an exciting, yet in some ways a very difficult time. Let me quote from a paper sponsored by the National Academy of Science. Thanks to globalization driven by modern communications and other advances, workers must now face competitors who live just a mouse click away in Ireland, Finland, China, India, and dozens of other nations whose economies are growing. This is aptly referred to as the death of distance. And it is indeed true now that the world is flat. Yet you folks that are graduating here today have come from an institution whose faculty has equipped you well to face the challenges of this new world that we live in. We know that in order to compete in this new world, we depend on graduates who are well-trained, well-accomplished, and eager to perform, graduates just like yourselves. Several other factors can be considered in the education that you have attained. Certainly, financial remuneration is probably first and foremost in your decision to join the 30% of our fellow South Dakotans who have attained a baccalaureate degree. Figures from the Employment Policy Foundation tell us that lifetime earnings with a baccalaureate degree approach about $2.25 million and even more with an advanced degree. Now, another factor alludes to the general economy of South Dakota. It's known that 80% of the graduates of a state institution remain in state, and we know that 50% of out-of-state students who come into the state for their education remain in the state. And through these entrepreneurial activities, contribute to the general economy and the enjoyment of living here in South Dakota. Education spurs economic development. Graduation is an exciting time because each of you is looking forward to starting the next chapter in your life. It may be advanced training in your field, or it may be just entering the working world. Benjamin Franklin said that if a man empties his purse into his head, no one can take it away from him. An investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. You have made that investment. Good luck to each one of you. I wanted to mention, and Ashley reminded you, that your student debt will start in 6 months. I want to copy my Regent Dean Krogman, who reminded the graduates at South Dakota State University that there will be 3 groups that will be looking for you. One of them is the Alumni Association, the other one is the DSU Foundation, and the third one is the Internal Revenue Service. And now, under the laws of the state of South Dakota and by the authority granted to me as a member of the Board of Regents, I hereby delegate to Dr. Doug Knowlton the honor of conferring the degrees.
Okay, it's time to get on with it, right? I now call upon several individuals to assist me with the awarding of diplomas. I ask that these persons rise and be recognized. Please hold your applause. Dr. Carrie Forbes Boyd, Dean, College of Arts and Sciences. Dr. Tom Halverson, Dean, College of Business and Information Systems. Dr. Tom Hawley, Dean of the College of Education. Dr. Cecilia Whitmire, Vice President for Academic Affairs. Dr. Wayne Pauli, Director of the Center of Excellence representing the graduate programs for the College of Business and Information Systems. Dr. Mark Hawks, Graduate Program Coordinator for the College of Education. Ms. Sandy Anderson, Registrar, and Student Marshals, Ms. Megan Flynn and Mr. Jake Heckman. The Registrar will please bring forward the graduates to receive their diplomas.
Will the candidates for the Master of Science and the Master of Science in Education please rise and come forward? Nick Pullman. Nathan W. Anderson. Sandeep K. Boinapalli. Dale O. Grovold. Sandeep Modugo. Prasoon Kumar Rachamala. Cindy Shabelli. Vidalia Thripu Ranini. Stephen E. Williams. Sharivas Yadula. Randall Dwayne Fisher. Ross Peterson. Amanda Joyce Smith. Will the candidates for the baccalaureate degrees please rise and come forward by row? For the College of Arts and Sciences, Ashley Brassfield, magna cum laude and Center of Excellence graduate. Emily Joan Christensen. Brenton Charles Fuchs. Derek Iverson. Kevin Jacob Kinder. Dustin D. Looning. Aurora Rose Remrick. Sheila M. Schneider, cum laude and Center of Excellence graduate. Mark A. Yackley. For the College of Business and Information Systems, Brent Adams. Aaron Lucille Anderson. Dustin Bowe. Andrew Chase Brunick. Leonard Anton Cousins, Center of Excellence graduate. Amy Barbara Hinckley, magna cum laude. Justin R. Hipple. Joshua J. Horner. Tyler Randall Crable. Travis M. Kruger. Jesse Mellema. Andrea Marie Meyer. Matthew Joseph Newley. Nicholas M. Podorowski. Jeremy Reeves. Michael T. Reese. Danielle Yvonne Riesick. Lisa M. Ruland. Jason W. Rickers. Stephanie Lynn Sherburne. Daniel Patrick Smith, Center of Excellence graduate. Brent Van Artsen. Adam Joshua Vox. Francis F. Wakeman III. Jeray M. Wire. Stephen J. Wolcher, cum laude. Travis James Zink. For the College of Education, Megan N. Blake, summa cum laude. Sarah Jane DeHaan. Dustin James Eisenbraun. Lacey Lynn Foster. Mallory Marie Hookman, magna cum laude. Catherine Ann Cannonberg, summa cum laude. Jolene Lynn Kremkes, magna cum laude and Center of Excellence graduate. Stephen Jerry Cruzy. Amber May Melvin. Cameron Lee Martin. Paul Virgil Matthews. Ann Miller. Andrea Joy Olson, cum laude. Ryan Michael Orr. Lisa LaRae Peterson, summa cum laude and Center of Excellence graduate. Christopher John Steerer, magna cum laude. Jacqueline Lee Stroop, cum laude. Will the candidates for the associate degrees please rise and come forward? For the College of Business and Information Systems, Amy Jean Glanzer, sorry. I know. Athena J. Schneider.
Our mic guy. There we go. All right. Thanks, Adam. Will all the graduates please rise? By the authority vested in me by the Board of Regents, I hereby confer upon each of you the degrees to which you are entitled, with all the rights and privileges appertaining thereto. You may move your tassels. Please be seated. Members of the Dakota State University Fall Graduating Class, we are proud of your accomplishments. I invite the parents, families, and friends, members of the faculty, and honored guests to join me once more in applauding your success. It is now my pleasure to call upon Ms. Cindy Gustav. Ms. Gustav currently serves as Executive Director of the Mitchell Technical Institute Foundation, a 1989 graduate of Dakota State University. Cindy serves as President of the Dakota State University Alumni Association. She is here today to welcome our graduates as alumni of the university.
Thank you, Dr. Knowlton. Dr. Knowlton, Regent Bellotti, Dr. Perry, platform guests, parents, and friends of the graduates, and most importantly, the 2006 fall graduates of Dakota State University, welcome. It is my pleasure to greet you on behalf of the Dakota State University Alumni Association. Proud past. At the risk of really dating myself, I had all 5 of these professors when I went to school at Dakota State, and it was a privilege. We have over 125 years of teaching experience at Dakota State sitting right over here. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Proud past, promising future. This is the catchphrase of DSU's Alumni Association. I feel that this embodies what an alumni association is all about and also tells the world about Dakota State University. Proud past. Dakota State has a rich history. This past spans 125 years. Our history includes a notable military man at the helm who has been depicted through the DSU and Madison community this past year, retelling the General Beetle story. This history includes pain and tribulations, such as fires on campus, one fire that destroyed the campus high school, or the threat of closure that ultimately ended with one of the public universities being closed in South Dakota, low student numbers after the mission change, and many more. Proud past. This past also includes many triumphs, such as the many name changes, culminating in the name change to Dakota State University. The mission change and the vision that change created, record enrollments, these triumphs have set DSU up for a promising future. Dakota State has just culminated a year-long celebration of its 125th birthday, celebrating our proud past. It is very appropriate to close this year with this commencement. You hold in your hand a promising future. The DSU community has done everything possible to prepare you for that future. It is now up to you to create your future, and I know that you have the tools to be successful. This university has prepared many successes in business and education. Some of those success stories are sitting here today. Proud past. A promising future includes titles and accolades that come from a proud past. It is only fitting that DSU was named the number one in the top public comprehensive colleges bachelor's division in the Midwest region. It should come as no surprise that Citigroup named Dakota State University as one of the few schools that will teach and develop their leaders. Promising future. As you take this step in your promising future, know that the good wishes and the support of DSU's Alumni Association go with you. We want you to be successful both personally and professionally. We would like to help you succeed. One way for us to help is to facilitate connections with other DSU alums. You will be receiving an alumni welcome packet in the mail. Please take the time to fill out your new information and return it to the alumni office. We want to know where you are and what is happening in your life. So as you go out into the world, know that you go with the knowledge and education that many do not have. Go into the world knowing that you have a community of some 12,000 alums, faculty and staff members from DSU, and friends you have made along the way who support and care about you. Proud past. Promising future. Follow your dreams wherever they may take you. Pursue a career that will bring you satisfaction, purpose, and contentment. The pursuit of money will not bring you happiness. However, hard work will be rewarded. So dream big, fear not, and remember this. Life is too short for drama and petty things. So kiss slowly, laugh insanely, love truly, and forgive quickly. Good luck and congratulations.
On behalf of the faculty, the staff, and the students of Dakota State University, I want to thank you all for attending this fall commencement of just in case you didn't catch it, the #1 ranked comprehensive college in the Midwest. My congratulations, my personal congratulations to the graduates on your accomplishments, and my best wishes for all of your next steps. We invite you to join your graduate and the faculty at the Dakota Prairie Playhouse, which is just across the street, for punch, coffee, and cake in recognition of today's graduates. Graduates of Dakota State University, you have joined thousands of DSU alumni who have crossed the stage before you. Many of those alumni are in the audience today in support of you and your accomplishments. I ask that any DSU alumni who are present with us today to please stand to be recognized and remain standing. Any graduates from Dakota State University? I would now ask our graduates and the newest alumni of DSU to stand and join them. To conclude this commencement, we ask that the entire audience rise for the singing of the Alma Mater, led by several members of our concert choir. The words are found in the back cover of your program.
On the eastern plains of South Dakota, where the sunshine is ever near, there's a college we are proud to honor, whose name to us is dear. Cheer her on to victory, now your voices raise. Thank you.